So good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Am I audible?
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening. So
Good evening, sir.
good evening, all of you. Uh, I am Neeraj Sharma, and I'll be taking your economic classes. So prior to that, first we will have to understand that what are the prerequisite for economy, because there are certain myths regarding economy, like it's and all those things. And given the circumstances of this COVID, that is also to be taken into account. So first and foremost, that in the economic class, first we will try to make it simple. Like, there are very myths regarding this economy, that it is tough. So to understand that it's not that. I request you all to please mute. uh, So, in the very first class, I'll try to explain all these things. We'll try to understand what we have to do in the upcoming sessions. Um, because if you see the Corona times, everywhere there is online classes. Even in Delhi, you will find that institutes are closed, and everybody is taking online classes. But I'll appreciate Super 90 under the guidance of Ram sir, that he is trying his best to ensure that you people are being provided the best faculty of Delhi. Because even in my previous session with the students, I observed the same thing. Right. So first, for economy, you should not have any pre-notions regarding the subject. It tough hai ya kya hai, it's not like that. Because whatever my experience with the previous students, that if you are clear with the concepts, right, basics, then it will not be tough. Because see, we will focus only the requirement of the UPSC, nothing else. That's it. Right? And accordingly, we will plan everything. Right. So, and secondly, if you are having any doubt in the class, you feel free to ask, because the most important thing in UPSC is that you should not leave anything for the future. Kitab karenge, we will do it later on. That later on never comes. Right. So starting the first session, that is what to study. Uh, this is my PPT visible to you?
Yes, sir.
That's Indian economy, and this is basically what to study and how to study. We'll discuss that thing. If you see the importance of the economy, you'll find that I have tried to prepare a graph from 2013 onwards, and you'll find that even it has touched 20 question in 2016, right? That means 20 out of 100. It's a huge share. And if you see the syllabus, right, syllabus is comparatively very less in comparison to the other subjects. So it's hanging fruits, sort of. Right. So that's why it give you, if you're done with economy, then it gives you confidence.
Excuse me, sir.
Please.
Sir, your PPT is not visible, sir.
It's not visible.
Yes, sir.
Wait. Share screen. I think I have been disabled by the host. Let me check. Wait, let me ask. Okay. Yes, now I'm visible. Right. Now I'm visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is like I have tried to compile the number of questions which have been asked in the previous years. If we talk about mains, in mains, out of 20 questions, 11, maximum of 11 questions have been asked in in 2013, and it has around 6 to 7 questions are still UPSC is asking out of this economy. So it is very important, right? Now, coming to the main part, first we have to understand that what we will be discussing, it's basically Indian economy and not economics. What does it mean? It means that we have to understand and apply the theories rather than driving and analyze, right? We are not supposed to neither drive nor analyze. Please keep it in mind. Rather, we have to apply the theories. We have to understand and apply the theories. That means it is, if you see the NCRT of economy, you will find there are certain derivation theories, right? We have nothing to do with that. We have just to apply all those things. Then we have to focus on contemporary Indian economy, right? Contemporary Indian economy means we have to see what are the news regarding Indian economy, and we have also to take into account the major international economic issues, because UPSC is focusing on all the issues which are of international importance, as well as they are having repercussions on the Indian economy, right? So it's not like that only UPSC is only concerned with the issues in the Indian economy. Rather, any international economic issue which is having repercussions on India will be focus of the UPSC. For example, if you see recession of 2008, which started from US, and it uh, engulfed the whole world, right? Europe and Asia, right? So UPSC, it's a matter of focus for the UPSC, and UPSC can ask questions from all those issues. Then if we talk about economy in GS, especially in UPSC, economy is related to the current happenings. Because it is related to the current happenings, that's why it becomes very easy to understand it and correlate. For example, it is very tough to understand the theory, and if the theory is being practiced, then it is very easy to understand the things. So the beauty of the economy, UPSC economy, is that it is based upon the current happenings, and that's why it is easier to understand and correlate. Secondly, it's a conceptual subject, conceptual and scientific. That means there's no need to cram except certain things. For example, there are certain concepts, like certain facts which need to be crammed. Otherwise, there's no need to cram it. Rather, we have to understand it and to conceptualize it. One of the uniqueness of this economy is that if you have gone through the polity part, then your teacher might have told you that Lakshmikant is sort of Bible for polity. But in case of UPSC economy, not a single book can solve your query regarding your syllabus, because not a single book covers the whole syllabus, right? And things are not systematically put in any book. Rather, you can take any, if you talk about NCRT, not a, I think not only not 20% of the main topics are covered in NCRT, right? Though to an extent, 10 to 15% of the syllabus of pre is covered in NCRT, but it's very limited, right? So that's why you have to rely upon multiple resources. So because you have to rely on multiple resources, so the challenge is that what should be the material which should be followed for the UPSC. And so the selection of material becomes very important. And that is very important from your point of view, because either you will be studying all those things which are not important from the UPSC point of view, or you will be studying only those things which are important from the UPSC point of view. If you are engaged in all those things which are not important from the UPSC point of view, that means you will be reading a lot. वो बोला cost benefit analysis, Your inputs will be very much higher, but the output will be very less, right? And it will lead to the least efficiency. That's why economy appears to be tough. But if you are selecting the right material or right guidance, then it becomes very easier, right? So my focus is for the selection of the material, right? There are certain myths regarding this economy, that it's difficult. Uh, I don't think so, because my opinion is it's difficult to select the optimum material, the right material, right? And if you are done with the selection of the material, then simply it's not difficult, right? Then secondly, people say that okay, you have to cram all economic related data. Not at all. Yes, you are supposed to know basic data. For example, you should be aware uh, regarding what is the GDP growth rate, right? You should be aware that what is the inflation going on, macroeconomic data, yani the data which you should know, right? And these are the figures which you might be uh, referring to in day-to-day newspapers. You'll find all these figures in the day-to-day newspaper. So there's no need to cram this data. Rather, you have just to have a specific understanding of the data that it's coming, and I have to take a look of that data, right? But there is no need to cram the data, right? Secondly, what happens that many times while you're writing the mains answers, why this data is important, such data, because when you're clear with the, if you're having the idea that this is the GDP status, and then it gives you confidence. It gives you the confidence while you're writing the answers, right? So a little bit data is required, but not required too much of data, right? Then you have to mug up the concepts in economy. I have already told you that you need conceptual clarity rather than mugging up the concepts. And the next very important myth is people usually say that if you have done currents, then it's sufficient for economy, as UPSC focuses more upon current. Actually, what happens in the later on slides, we will try to understand that UPSC is basically, especially I'm talking about economy. In economy, uh, it is based upon the current happenings. That's why the question will be related to the current things, but it does not mean that they'll not be asking the concepts. Either the questions can be based upon the currents or related to currents, right? But the fundamental will be economy. It's not like that if you have gone through only currents, but if you're not clear with the concept, then you will not be in a position to solve the question. So first we have to focus on the basics, then only we will be in a position to understand the currents. The main thing, the very important thing, the sources for the economy. First and foremost, see, in UPSC, uh, the only guide in the UPSC are two things. What I perceive and think: UPSC syllabus and last year question papers, right? Reason being, the only thing which is being provided by the UPSC is UPSC syllabus and last year question papers. Nothing besides this has been provided by UPSC. So these things will actually tell you that what UPSC is going to ask and what is the pattern of the UPSC for asking the questions. Then comes NCRT class 11 and 12 books. Uh, 11 has now been, that NCRT economic development has been shifted to class 12th. So economic development book and macroeconomics of class 12th are the important books from which there are certain topics for pre, which are covered in these books, right? And we'll focus on that. Whenever I'll be taking any topic, then I'll let you know that from where you have to go through that particular topic. Economic survey and budget. Economic survey and budget are the only two documents which are provided by the government, and these documents are covering the all the things related to the economy which happens in a year. So economic budget right? Economic survey and budget are very critical for understanding the economy. You will find many direct questions. Direct questions are coming from economic survey, not only in pre but as well as in the mains. Because see, uh, many times it has been observed that the answer of certain questions are only in the economic survey, right? Or which is, for example, I'll give you an example later on. There will be an example. I'll explain it. Economy page. One thing, which paper you people are following, Indian Express or this Hindu? You can put it in the chat. uh, Wait. Hindu. Okay, I think most of the students are following Hindu, right? Okay. See, okay, somebody is asking, Manjunath is asking which paper should be followed. Okay, many of you are also following Indian Express. See, from my side, though it's immaterial which paper you are following, both are good paper. But in the existing scenario, reason being, Hindu is a bit leftist paper, and the government being a be, if you see the government, it's sort of right to the left, right to the center, and Hindu is always critical of the government, right? So I advise uh, students to follow this Indian Express, right? And if you haven't started any paper, then try to go through Indian Express for a month, and then you can take your decision, right? And economy page as well as that editorial of Indian Express is very good. I prefer that, right? Because to an extent it's neutral, to an extent. Right now it's also critical because the policies which are to be criticized, it is criticizing that, but you can't be outrightly always criticizing the government, because secondly, you people are going to be a part of the system. So you should have a framework that is not always critical of the government, right? So you have to improve upon, you have to suggest the ways, right, rather than always criticizing the government. That's only my opinion. Secondly, there is a program, Spotlight on News Analysis on 106.4. This program is basically not only exclusively for the economy, but it is covering every topic which is of the current related. So if you go through this program, it is coming at 9:15 p.m., right? And it's a 15 minutes program. It's in English. And the beauty of this program is that the panelists are all mostly either bureaucrats or technocrats. So there is nothing that discussion, like there's not um, illogical discussions are not taking place. Only the logical discussions are taking place. Secondly, everything is very well framed. You will find that the answers put up by the people are very much systematic. They are giving everything in the points. And most appropriately, you are having the opinion of the bureaucrats in that program. So it's a very good program. Please go through it. And not only this, you can find it on this website. They are having AIR India. Go through it. I think you can find Spotlight program on that. And not only this, website is having all these programs. Are you will find the programs which are nine onwards, 9 o'clock. There is news on this 106.4, and 15 minutes news, then followed by Spotlight. Then after 9:30, there are still programs on economy, on social issues, on IR. So it will be beneficial for you. Then other thing is Rajya Sabha TV, which is now Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha TV has been covered. Subscribe to this channel on YouTube, and you will find that many topics related to your syllabus are covered in these discussions. For example, if you are going through in economy, you are going through monetary policy, right? Then you will find n number of discussion on monetary policy. So download those programs, and when you are free, like when you are doing some physical activity, then you can switch over to that your mobile, and when you're having dinner and all those things, all the idle times, you can utilize your idle time for hearing all these things. Because these and even if you are planning to watch news, I'll advise you don't avoid the commercial news channels, right? Avoid the commercial news channels, rather watch Rajya Sabha TV and all these DD news, right? Then coming to the economy, what should be the strategy and how we have to deal with it. See, economy, for my understanding, for your understanding, I divide the syllabus of the economy in two parts. One is static and another is dynamic. Static means if you go through the syllabus, you will find many of the things has been stabilized in terms of policy or theory. That means, for example, if we are having topic of inflation, and you will find that if if anybody says that what is the static part in inflation, then you will say that the reasons for the inflation, like cost push, how it is happening, demand pull, right? It has been theorized, right? That if they are the reasons for inflation, then if anybody is asking you that there are certain indices of inflation, these two indices, wholesale price index and consumer price index, all these are already in place, right? So that means this is part of their static part. That means it has already been stabilized in terms of policy and theory, and it's not, it has nothing to do with the current. It has been going on from long and long, right? If I talk about that, what is the dynamic part in inflation? Then dynamic part in inflation means that there was recent changes in 2016, and at that time, government and Reserve Bank of India has a framework. They signed a framework. The government signed a framework with Reserve Bank of India, and in that framework, it was decided that now onwards, Reserve Bank of India will have the objective of inflation targeting, right? That means 2000, for 2016 onwards, for inflation, it becomes the dynamic part. This term inflation targeting becomes the dynamic part, concept of inflation targeting. And in 2016, this broader framework was signed. It was known as Monetary Policy Framework. For your understanding, in 2016, I think we discussed that there were 16 or 20 questions in 2016. It was in pre. It was because there were many economy related developments in 2015. And that's why so much of questions were asked in 2016, right? Because UPSC is tracking the contemporary developments in the economy, and they're asking questions based upon those developments, right? Now comes that whether we have to only follow the current part or the static part, right? What I discussed in the initial slides. See, the issue is that UPSC can, for example, the developments were related to inflation, right? All the current developments were related to inflation. So UPSC can either ask all the current related development to that topic, or they can ask you the static part of that topic. They can also ask you that what is cost push inflation, right? What is demand pull, right? So that means either they can ask from the static also. It's not only necessary they will be only asking the current related topics. Keep it in your mind. That means we have to prepare static as well as the dynamic questions, dynamic syllabus. That's why I started in the starting that you are not only supposed to go through only the current, right? First, you should be clear with the static part. That means you should be clear with the concepts. So economy is all about dynamic and static part. It's not only about either the dynamic or the static part, right? So in economy, we will be focusing on static as well as the dynamic part. First, we should be clear with the concepts, that is static. Then only we will be in a position to understand the dynamic part. Now we have to understand that how to correlate the current with syllabus topics. Uh, uh, are you aware about the farmers agitations going right now? Anybody who is not aware of the these farmers agitation which is going across the country? Everybody is aware now that this farmers agitations are going on, right? Now we have to understand that what what is important from the UPSC point of view, right? And how UPSC can ask the questions. This issue is a dynamic issue, but you have to go into the core and you will understand that these issues are related to the four static issues. That is minimum support price, that is related to the price which is being given by the government to the farmer. Public distribution system, right? That means which is provided to the people who are poor. Third, subsidies, very important thing. You all are aware about subsidies. APMC and APMC, that means it is agriculture. These are marketing, marketing committees. That is basically the committees which are you'll find in, for example, if you see in Hyderabad or in your towns, you will find mandis. This is basically mandi system. In mandis, the farmers are coming to sell their products, right? So these are the four issues which are from the static syllabus and which are related to this current issue, right? That means when UPSC will be asking the questions, you should be ready with these four topics, because these four topics are highlighted because of the ongoing farmers agitation. This is how you have to understand the dynamics of the issues, right? So this is, it comes with the practice. It comes with the practice. And when you are done, when you have gone through the syllabus, then only you will be in a position to understand that which news is important from the UPSC point of view, and what I have to understand, what I have to perceive from that news from UPSC point of view. Either UPSC can ask you to comment on the ongoing issues, or they can ask you the static part from these news, right? So you should be ready with all these things, right? This is how you have to understand, how you have to explore or analyze the news from your point of view, from the UPSC point of view, right? Now, if you see, are you aware of this story, that glacier breach in Uttarakhand, right, which took place, I think, in the 2 or 3 months back, right? Okay, I think you people are aware of this issue also. That's very good. So if you see this issue, then you will find that this issue raises a debate on 3 to 4 topics, that it is talking about a debate on growth versus development. It is talking about, it has raised the issue of inclusive growth. It has raised the issue of development, and it has raised the issue of sustainable development. That means these four issues are highlighted after this incident, and UPSC can ask either of these incident or either this concept in exam, right? So this is how, what is important from the UPSC point of view, what UPSC can ask. See, again, what we discussed in the previous slide, that people say that questions are coming from current. Actually, questions are, see, when UPSC's for a common man, if you were the examiner, or if you are asked to set paper, what will you do? Naturally, you will be looking, if any news is coming, naturally it will be a point of focus for you, and you will try to give that into the exam, because there are n number of things in the syllabus, so everything can't be asked. So there should be certain basis for which any question is being asked. So these news highlight such issues, and that's why it become basis for these questions to be asked from these topics, right? And that is your job, that how to decipher the news from UPSC point of view, right? This will come with the practice and the able guidance of the teacher, right? Then you have to keep certain things in the mind. First and foremost, you cannot neglect the basic concepts. Normally what has been observed, the students are um, doing, they go through every big things, right? But they always neglect the basic concepts. That's why when you talk to the people, you will find that the when you are in the first attempt, then you are having good marks in comparison to your later on attempts, right? Reason being, in the very first attempts the student is going through the basic concepts, and when he is in this journey, then he start neglecting the basic concepts, in the assuming that I knew each and everything, right? The basic fundamental which you have, it's not only about economy, but I am telling you about the whole UPSC, that you have to focus and only focus the basic concepts. If you see, if you go through the paper, the pattern of the paper, be it pre or be it mains, they are focusing on the basic concepts. They want that they assume or they anticipate that the students are thorough with the basic concepts. And many a times you will find that the papers, the questions are basically demanding that you should be thorough with the concept, right? If you don't know the basic concepts, don't know the basic understanding of the concepts of the terms, then you will not be in a position to understand the concept and answer it. So next is questions are concept based, so need to understand and analyze the concepts rather than merely studying and marking up. One thing very important, that the questions, if you see the questions, you will find that n number of concepts are covered in the question. Secondly, if you start the question and for example in pre, many times it happens that when you find a term which is familiar to you, you assume that okay iska to, that answer is fixed in my mind, okay, and you come up with the answer and take it. But it has been observed that UPSC never gives simple questions. They want to trap you. And once you are overconfident that, okay, this is the first word, after just going through the first word, you are confident, okay, I know this, the answer will be this, and you are trapped. Because if you see the last year question papers, you will find that UPSC is playing with the words, right? That's why it is necessary to read the question between the lines. If you remain overconfident in the paper time, in the exam time, then it will create problem for you, right? So I'm telling you that for UPSC, there are certain basic things which are required. And these are so basic things that normally the aspirants neglect all those things in the anticipation that, okay, they are normal things, right? And that does not matter. But what matters only these normal things, right? So whenever you are going through the questions, word by word, you are supposed to go word by word, and you are supposed to understand the basic, or you have to understand you have to understand it between the lines, right? Secondly, correlation of diverse concepts. This is in the context that if you see the mains paper of UPSC, you will find that UPSC is correlating the concept. For example, you cannot compartmentalize the subjects. Like you will find that in a single question, UPSC is asking you geography, it is correlating it with economy, it is correlating it with IR, right? Even in pre, you will find that questions in if they are asking any questions of importance, location places in international, those relations are based upon the international happenings in IR, right? So geography, they are correlating geography with IR, right? So that means it's not like that you are compartmentalizing the concepts. Okay, no, it's geography, it's economy. It's not like that. Everything is intermixed. Keep it in your mind. So if you take this example of 2020 question, this is explain intra-generational and intergenerational issues of equity from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. This question is only about understanding these terms, nothing else. Right? There's nothing, any specificity about this question. But you can only sort out this question, only write this question if you are clear with these terms: intragenerational, intergenerational, equity, inclusive growth, and sustainable. A single question of 2 lines is having two, three, four, five concepts which you should know. Right. Secondly, you are not supposed to do the research. Right. In UPSC, you are here only to crack the exam, nothing else. Right. You're not supposed to do the PhD. Right. You're not supposed you have to have the Nobel. Right. So you have only to read only those things, because many times it has been observed the students are coming from, they are having graduation in economy, right? And they are assuming that, oh, that we will do economy, I know economy, and they are having least marks in UPSC. And the people who are assuming that they don't know anything and they go through the basics, they are having maximum marks, because UPSC demands certain different things, and they will only give you marks if you are fit into their frame, right? That means you have to write as per the demand of the UPSC. They are not interested in what you know, rather they are interested in what they want, what UPSC demands, right? So your focus should be on the demand of the UPSC rather than what you know. This is not the domain of the UPSC, right? Concepts in economic survey needs to be understood. See, many a times it has been observed that I already told you that many answers are only mentioned in economic survey. For example, uh, this is an article which is of 3rd June. I'll give you the PPT and go through this article. Normally, see, what is factual understanding? Many times people say that, even I said that you are supposed to know the certain facts, and such economic related facts and happenings of the year are covered in the economic survey. And many times newspapers are also covering it from time to time. In this news story was about the increase in the income of the government. Right? Normally, the observation is this was exclusive in the sense that reasons for increase in the income of the government changed this time, because normally direct tax is having a lion's share, but this time it was because of high indirect tax and high GST. And that too, the maximum contribution was from petroleum products. Right? UPSC can ask us things because the UPSC is interesting all the changes, right? Dynamicity of the subject. Question can be asked from that topic, though it can be from the dynamic part of that topic or static part. They can ask you either of the either dynamic or static, but that topic becomes focus. And in such cases, when there is some change in the pattern, because the pattern says that the reasons for income of the government are direct tax followed by high indirect tax, but this time it's otherwise. That means it is some changes from the existing pattern, right? So UPSC can ask you such factual questions. These becomes factual questions, right? In the sense that they have certain facts behind the reasoning, right? So if you see uh, this question from 2018, you'll find that there was a question: despite being a high saving economy, capital formation may not result in significant increase in output due to This question again is having some terms, high saving economy. We'll discuss all these things later on. Then it will be right now. You might be thinking that what are these terms, right? Don't be afraid. Capital formation is another term, right? Increase in output is another term. So if you see the answers, weak administrative machinery, illiteracy, high population density, high capital output ratio, all appears to be the reasons for this, right? Of the inefficiency in the economy. But when we go through the concepts, then we will find that there is a technicality behind this. There's a term ICOR, incremental capital output ratio, which talks about efficiency in the economy. That means you should and must be aware about the basic concepts. If you are not clear with the basic concept, then definitely it can trouble you. That's why again and again I am telling you that it is the basic concepts you have to follow. If you are clear with the concepts, then you can very easily make up the building those concepts, right? And if you are not clear with the concepts, then it will trouble you. So again and again I am telling you, please focus on the basic concepts, right? And secondly, the you have also to keep it in mind that in UPSC, questions answers changes with the time. Like for example, if this is the question, this question was asked in 2011. The concept of the disinvestment is static part, right? This is a theory of disinvestment, and this question was asked in 2011. This question can also be asked in 2021. Reason being, right now, government is very much aggressive regarding the disinvestment, right? That's why this issue is very much relevant from the UPSC point of view. But it might be a possibility that the answer of this question changes from 2011 to 2021, because the reasons at that time might be different and the reasons at in 2021 are something different, right? So my submission is, my advice for you is that you have to understand the happenings, right? And you have to understand why this issue is important from the UPSC point of view, right? Then there's a question from 2016. I told you that in 2015 there was an arrangement between RBI and Government of India, and because of that there were n number of changes in the Indian economic framework, right? And because of those changes in 2015, at least 20 questions were asked from the economy, and they all those questions appear to be from the current, right? Current, but they were from economy current. And the reason was there were certain changes in 2015, and one of the question was this: marginal cost of funds lending rate. So everything has a reason, right? Everything has a reason. You have to understand what is the reason. This is your job. That once you are clear with that why UPSC is asking any question, what news can be focus of the UPSC, then your half of the work is done, right? So your task, your focus should be to understand that why UPSC is asking any question, right? This was a question, I think it was asked recently. This question was directly asked, the concept was in NCRT, right? Question this aggregate money concept. I think this was asked last year only. So there's some questions which are directly asked from the NCRT. Whatever portion of the syllabus is mentioned in NCRT, right? It has to be read from the NCRT itself. You are not advised to go for any other sources, especially many things are factually mentioned in the NCRT. Like this is the definition, this M1, M2, M3 definitions are mentioned in NCRT. These are part of the defined definition of from RBI, right? And you are supposed to answer in that frame only, which is mentioned in the NCRT. Again, if you see this question, expansionist monetary policy, why UPSC asks expansionist monetary policy in that year? Reason being, the RBI was increasing liquidity in the economy, right? So that means again and again, these questions are telling you that why any particular point of syllabus becomes important from the UPSC point of view. And these questions are just an example to focus again and again that whatever is happening is important from the UPSC point of view, and you should be expert enough, which you will be in the due course of time, because my experience with the students tells me so, right? Then methodology for economy, how to deal with economy, right? First, go through the syllabus, because if you are not through with the syllabus, then you will not be knowing that what you have to go through. Then you are supposed to go through the basic concepts, right? All the basic concepts should be very much clear. Whenever you are going through any topic, then all the basic all the basic concepts
అవుట్స్కట్స్ అది చెరువు మధ్యలో ఉంటుంది
మధ్యలో చెరువు ఉంటుంది, చుట్టూ కాలేజ్ ఉంటుంది.
బాగుంటుంది.
please mute yourself.
రామయ్య, SRM, క్రైస్ట్, ఇంకా
అన్ని ఒక టాప్ కాలేజీలు.
ముడిగిన
ఇంకా మణిపాల్,
జైను.
Right. You are supposed to go through the basic concepts. Secondly, I'll give you an innovative idea of making notes in the next slide, how you have to make the notes. You should have your notes updated in the sense that whatever I have told you, that you have to go through the newspaper, you have to go to any portal, you have to go through 106.4, or you have to go through that Rajya Sabha TV or any portal you are going through. You have to compile all the information from these multiple resources in your notes, right? This you have to do. Otherwise, at the time of your exam, you will be puzzled. So this task you have to carry out. This is very important, crucial task, right? While going through the news, dynamic part should be correlated with the static part at the same point of time. This is very important in the sense that what I want to convey is, for example, you are going through any news story, and the news story is about, for example, this is about your, I'll explain it in the next slide. The news story is related to the monetary policy. Monetary policy. Now, you will understand that in that editorial, if you are going through a newspaper, you will find that there will be n number of terms. If you go to the editorial is like, it is first covering the current news related to monetary policy, right? Secondly, in the second paragraph, it will be telling you about the concept of monetary policy, right? Then it will be telling you about the forward looking, or any suggestion, right? Or it will be in the middle of it, it will be analyzing the existing situation, analysis, right? Now, this analysis is dynamic part, this suggestion is dynamic part, this current news is dynamic part. But in this whole editorial, you will find there will be n number of concepts, like they will be discussing expansionist monetary policy, that they might be using these terms, right? They will be using contractionary monetary policy, they will be using the term inflation, and etc. So static part means, static part out of that editorial will be these terms, right? you should be clear with all these terms. So many times I when I talk to my students, they're always asking that what should be, how we should go through the newspaper, right? Will you tell me that how much time do you invest in newspaper? Anybody? What is the time which you are going through the newspaper? How much time do you take to go through the newspaper nowadays? 60 minutes, 5 minutes. Who is this Kari Chedu Manjunath? You are giving 5 minutes, okay. On an average 1 hour. A lot of time. Pranavi is saying a lot of time, about 30 minutes. 30 minutes is not a lot of time. Starting it took 4 hours, now it reduced to 40 minutes. Lavanya Somraj, it's very good. Lavanya Somraju, how do you how do you take so much of time? Can you explain? Either you can unmute yourself because you are the only one who is giving 4 hours. I think she's not responding. She or he, I don't know. Right. I read each and every article. Very good. 2 hours. See, in case of newspaper, reading everything usually takes time. I wrote down words. Very good. This is a strategy what she's doing. This is the only strategy how you have to read the newspaper initially. Initially, I always advise to read the newspaper like a book. Simple. Read the newspaper like a book means if you are going through an editorial of monetary policy, right? Then whatever technical term is mentioned in that, you are supposed to be thorough with that concept. For example, if n number of terms are mentioned in this this editorial, expansionist, contractionary, inflation targeting, until and unless you are knowing all the terms, you cannot switch over to the next news. Definitely, it will take at least half to 1 hour to complete an editorial initially if you're not thorough with the concepts. Automatically, it will take 4 to 5, rather 6 hours initially, right? So I always advise my students to go through paper like a book, at least 5 to 6 hours initially, right? With due course of time, when you are clear with the concepts and you will be reach in a position when the moment you saw the news, you will be in a position to correlate the things. Then you will take only less than an hour, right? Till then, you have to go through the newspaper like a book. That means whenever you are going through story, like what I'm mentioning here, now coming to the previous slide, this, while going through the news, dynamic part should be correlated with the static part at the same point of time. For example, if you are going through the story of monetary policy, then if there are certain terms, how many doses should we do this, sir? I'll tell you, it's just coming, right? That means when you are going through the story, news story, then at the same point of time, whatever static portion concepts are there, you should be clear with the concepts, right? If you are not clear with the concept, you have to revise that concept at the same point of time. It's not like that you go through the editorial, you don't know the concept and you say, okay, this is clear to me. No, it's not clear to you. It is not clear to you until and unless you are clear with all the mentioned static concept in the editorial. If the static part is not clear, then revise the static part. Revise the static part at the same point of time. Until and unless it is clear, you cannot move ahead. This is how you have to read the newspaper. After such practice, you will be in a position to correlate a dynamic part with static the moment you are going through a news story. That means after 1 or 2 months, you will be in a position that the moment you are going through a news story, you will be in a position to correlate the things, right? Because you will be knowing all the static concepts in that news story. So for many of the people, first, how to do it? First, you have to go through all the static part. For example, until and unless you don't know the basic concepts, right? You are going through an economy editorial and you are not aware of the basic concepts, then what is the benefit of reading that editorial? You'll be puzzled, right? Every time you are going so first you should be aware of the static portion. Then only you will be in a position that at least you should know a bit about the basic concept. Then only if you are forgetting the concept, then you can revise at the same point of time, right? So it is necessary that all the static concepts should be thorough with initially. Then only you will be in a position to read the story editorial, right? Is this clear? Is this clear how to read the newspaper and correlating dynamic part with the static part? Is there anybody who is not clear with the concept? Is there anybody who is not clear? Right, I think it's clear to all, right? Then the most important thing which you should be aware of is making of the notes. This is very important. And this is very helpful for the students in my observation and based upon the feedbacks. It says that like how to make notes. For this, you have to do one thing, and these notes you can prepare in all the subjects which are current related. That is dynamic subjects like GS, polity, and IR. What you have to do, you have to, for example, if I'm talking about economy, so you have to do one thing, you have to purchase a copy notebook. And in that notebook, you have to first prepare index. And in index, what you will do, for example, you go through a newspaper, don't start it outrightly from tomorrow itself. It will take at least, I said, na, first you should be thorough with the basic concepts. When you are thorough with the concepts, then do one thing, that when you understand that now I have a bit knowledge of all the basic concepts, then if you go through the newspaper on that day, you will find that there will be an editorial. The editorials were on the topic of monetary policy, and second editorial was related to inflation, right? Now what you will do, you will in the index you will mention that monetary policy, second you will do inflation, right? In monetary policy you will assign page number 1 and 2, or 1 2 3 you can do. In inflation you will do 3 4, right? And on the second day you will find that there was no news regarding any economic topic. On the third day you find that there were news related to fiscal policy and growth. So you have two new topics, fiscal policy and growth. What you did, you gave 5 to 6 pages and 7 to 8. On the first day, you have two new points related to monetary policy, two new points, which were unknown to you, or you think that it should be noted down because you don't know these two terms. Same goes with the inflation. Same goes with the, when in a time tenure of 1 year, you will find that the list of these topics will be around 150 to 200 at least. And on these, and for example, on the fifth day, you will find there were again 2 points on monetary policy. And on every topic, you will be having at least 20 to 30 new points. that is dynamic points. These points are besides your static, which is on in your notes, जो आपका which the book which you are having, or the static concept which you are having in your notebook, that is different. These 20 to 30 points on every topic will be only new points which are not known to you, which are new to you. That means by the end of a year or two, you will be having 150 to 200 topics on economy which you have already covered. And if you are asked to write on these topics, you can at least write 20. You require only 10 points in mains, right? You require only 10 points. And you are not puzzled at the time of exam, because these all points you have already gone through on a day-to-day basis, right? This is your own written notes, so you are not supposed to cram them, right? So at the time of exam, you are not in the puzzle situation, right? So by the end of year, and these notes will be having all the inputs from all the resources, all the dynamic resources, be it paper, be it Spotlight, be it Rajya Sabha TV, be it portal, right? So these notes are actually ready-made notes with you, and which are ready every time, right? You have just to revise them once in a month, nothing else. And you can revise those notes, the whole notebook, even in a single day. Right? And the pattern of the exam which UPSC is asking right now, nowadays, questions asked by UPSC are basically from the between the lines questions from the editorials, right? And this can only be covered from your own notes, right? Because when you are writing all those things in your copy, definitely if somebody is asking question from that, you'll be clear with the concept. So this is how you have to prepare the notes. It's very important, sir. But how to update the notes once the page is filled? See, that's what I said, that it's up to you whether you are giving 2-3 pages, 3-4 pages. You can assign next pages, next 2 or 3 pages again to that topic, right? Yes, many topics are such that they require more pages. So you can use them, assign new pages for that particular topic, right? Is it clear how to make notes? Because it's very unique thing. It is going to help you very much. Right. Now, any query from today's discussion? You are having any query regarding questions and whatever, you can ask. Ask the questions, otherwise it can create problem. Ask if you have any questions, whatever we have gone through today. Any query regarding any topic which you have gone through? Doubt in sources, how to go to, how to make notes for static part. Notes for static part, whatever topics I will be covering, I'll be giving you this all the PPTs, and I'll be tomorrow onwards. Will you cover NCRTs where to read the static parts? I'll be telling you that which portion of the syllabus is to be covered from where. I already told you that the problem with economy is that not a single book covers everything, right? So I have taken things from various resources and will provide you at one place, and whichever thing is to be read from where, I'll let you know. For example, there are many topics which are to be covered. What is monetary policy? See, we will discuss all these things right now. If you want to understand, monetary policy is nothing but it is about the supply of money in the economy, and RBI is basically the custodian of that part. RBI is the regulator that decide what should be the monetary policy. RBI, or more specifically, if you want to say monetary policy committee, is there. Sir, please suggest some books to get clarity on basic concepts. Again, I'm saying that not a single book can be there for that. You can do one thing, you can purchase Sri Ram notes. If you want to purchase some that sort of thing, then you can purchase Sri Ram notes. But there's no single question. Means answer writing, do we have to write down answers in the given order? Right now, I think they are giving you copy, and in that it is mentioned they are giving you page after the question. So it's a material. Uh, NCRT is economy, UPSC has Indian economy, sir, aren't both the endemics. It's not, see, NCRT economics. I already told you that we are not supposed to go through the NCRT. Oh, sorry, economics. That's why I said you that in the initially I told you that NCRT is also having that mathematical formula and all. We are not supposed to go through that. UPSC is not going to ask you anything that sort of thing. They want only applied. They want application of that part. So don't worry about that. There's no intermixing. See, uh, NCRT is not meant for the UPSC, right? NCRT is for class 12th students. It's the UPSC who is interested in NCRT, right? Uh, wait, uh, wait. Questions are left. Is monetary and moratorium are same or different? Both are different thing. Moratorium is something different. Monetary is something different, right? These things we will discuss whenever the things will come. And so, but if every day we have to read newspaper and make notes 20-30 points, then how do we have time for remaining? See, Vikramadit, I am not, this process of reading the newspaper for 4 to 5 hours, it will take at least 1 to 2 months, right? Later on, it will take only 40 to 45 minutes. It's a matter of time. Many people take it only for 2 to 3 months. Many people take it for 6 months, right? It's a matter of time. Don't worry about that. Sir, can you give a general list, the basic concepts, though it is dynamic, the basic fundamental concept, but I am understanding, okay. See, Lakshmi, wait for these 30 to 35 hours, which I'll be telling you or reading you. After those 35 hours, you will feel confident yourself, right? Then you will, all your questions will be answered in the coming classes only. Don't worry about that. This is, I can assure you, right? From economy point of view, I can assure you, and from my side, what I do, that I will always ask you to go through the last year question papers. Whenever I'm taking any topic, I'll ask you to go through the last year question papers, right? Then only we will move ahead, right? So that you can understand that whatever we are reading is correct or not. So which point should we note down? You have to note down those points which you think are new to you from that point, that topic that you have only to note down. We're not supposed to note down all the editorial, right? Because many things might be in your static notes already. Why to note it down? You are supposed to note down only the innovative ideas or exclusive points which you haven't gone through. Any other thing? Which newspaper will you prefer? See, I advise Indian Express, but it's up to you. Again, I'm telling you, is there anything we should read before attending classes every day? Tomorrow I'll be telling you, see, give me 1 or 2 days. In 1 or 2 days, all your answers in a coming week, most of your answers will be cleared. Nothing, sir, looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be talking about basic concepts in the economy. Last year questions are based on last year news, so how to correlate based on the present year news. See, again, I am telling you, it's not like that UPSC is only asking asking the current based questions. The questions you will find that most of the questions are from that static part. Right? For example, if we are going through monetary policy, then at least we should know that what type of questions are UPSC asking from monetary policy. Because it might be a policy that you are going through only those things which are not focus of the UPSC, right? So from last year question papers, you have an idea that what type of questions is UPSC asking from that topic, right? That's why we have to go through last year. And you are saying that it was related to last year news. It's not like that. See, in UP last year news, but static things don't change. Na? Last year question paper might be that 2016 20 questions were because the news was related to economy. But every time questions are not from economy, right? That is very important. At least it gives you an idea that what is the focus of UPSC, how UPSC asks questions, why UPSC is focusing on a particular area of that topic. Because in if you, there are n number of topics which are to be covered in a particular syllabus topic, right? So last year question papers gives an idea that which is the focus of the UPSC. Sir, is Economic Times, economic analysis regarding finance or in general? I have been referring it quite some time now for economic. See, Economic Time, if you are having time, you can go through it. But I'll say you can, if you are having time, then you can go through Economic Times. Otherwise, it's not advisable. Initially, it's not advisable. I am fresher. I don't know too much about all the topics. Don't worry about it. Don't worry at all. If when I told you that if you are fresher, then it's very good from the UPSC point of view, right? Any other thing? Right. I'll only request you to be uh, receptive of economy, right? Because what my observation is that students are having their having some what economy, how I do with the economy. It's not. So how can we segregate the news regarding economics in newspaper thing? There is a economy page in the newspaper that you have to go through. Do we give equal importance to headlines in the newspaper as the editor? Yes, in the newspaper you are supposed to go through headlines, editorial, IR page, and economy page. What would be your tips for the students attending prelims this year, sir? अभी class start होने देते हैं, then I'll tell you all the things will be coming, right? Any other query? Right? I think it's enough for today, right? You have raised n number of queries. That is very good, right? I appreciate it, right? Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.